All right, cool. So technically what the new thing we're doing today is graphing a line given a slope and a point. Let's remind ourselves of what slope is. All right, what is slope? Write it down. What do we got? Luke?
Slope is the rate of change.
Oh, I threw something else in there. It's hard to read that word. That word says?
Constant.
That word says constant. Yep. Slope is the what?
Constant rate of change between any 2 points on a line.
That's good. Keep going.
It is a measure of the steepness of a line.
Good. I do. Keep on reading.
To find the slope of a line, find the ratio of the change in y, vertical change, to the change in x, horizontal change.
So the slope is the change in y over the change in x, right? That's what we need to remind ourselves. Slope is the change in y over the change in x. Do you guys remember what we call that change in y over the change in x? That's an easy way to remember it. Rise over run. Rise over run. And that picture stinks. I don't like it. We do the rise first, and then the run second. Ignore this junk. It's a better slope triangle. Let's do this. There. There we go. That's a better slope triangle. Rise first, run second. Yes?
I know you said that we have to rise just for 1 second, but would it still be the same if we ran and then rise?
Well, it depends. How do you read in English?
From left to right?
Left, right, and
Top.
top to bottom. So if you did run over rise, would that give you the same ratio as rise over run? It would not. Now, drawing the triangle, whatever. You know, you're drawing the triangle. If you drew the run first and then the rise second, it's no big deal. But if you write down the run first, if you write down run over rise, then you're going to trip and fall because your pants are on the ground. Okay. That's a reference from yesterday's notes. Okay. Then you look like a fool with the pants on the ground. You guys know that song? Was that Samuel L. Jackson? Pants on the ground. Pants on the ground. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. You guys know that song? You should look it up. It's funny. Yeah.
I have a bunk bed, so if I run and then rise, I'll be like, I just fall out.
You fall out of your bunk bed. That's not cool. So Stephen, your question of can I draw the run first? Whatever. But you have to write rise over run. Otherwise it's not a vertical change over horizontal change. Okay? Let's find the slope of these lines. Hey, this one, is this a proportional relationship or not?
No.
This one's not a proportional relationship. So, is the slope the unit rate?
No.
No. So we can't just find it by looking at a point. We actually have to find the slope. So how do we do that? Well, first we pick one of the points. Which point do you think we should pick? Let's pick the one on the left. Pick the one on the left. Okay, so we pick this point, and we literally are just going to count the rise. What is the rise on this problem? 1, 2, 3, 4. The rise is 4. What's the run? 1, 2. So what is our rise over run? 4 over 2, or 2. That tells me that if I start at any of these points and go up 2 over 1, then I should find a point. Let's check. Ready? Up 2 over 1. Up 2. Hey, look at that. Is that a point?
Wow.
It's not a dot, but is it a point on the line? Next. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Ooh. You can even do it one more time. Up 2 over 1. Look at that. That's kind of nice. All right. What about the next one? Not proportional again. So in order to find the slope, we're going to have to actually count. All right, so we count up 1, 2, 3, and over to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's our slope? 3 over 5. Now, if you're ever unsure, you can always check the numbers. What I mean by that is the ordered pairs for these points. What's the ordered pair for this guy? What's the ordered pair for that one? 0, negative 3. What about the ordered pair for the other one? 2, 1. So now let's double check. Let's make sure that we're right. And we are, but if you're ever unsure about the slope, or if you're ever not given a line, if you're ever just given the points, what's the distance, the absolute value, what's the distance between -3 and 1 on a number line? If my nose is 0, -3 is here, and 1 is there, what's the distance between -3 and 1? What is it? It's 4. What's the distance between 0 and 2? 2, so 4 over 2. That's where it comes from. It comes from the numbers. Let's take a look at the other one. What's the ordered pair for that one? That's -2, comma what? -1. And the other one is 3, comma 2. Let's check. What's the distance, the vertical distance? So the distance between -1 and 2. So the distance from -1 to 2. What is that distance?
3.
It's 3. What's the distance from -2 to +3? So -2 to +3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 over 5. There you go. That's another way to look at it. Okay? Questions on this? This is what we did yesterday. Okay, let's look at what we're doing today. We want to graph when given a point and a line. So you'll need to write down the slope here. But there are 3 steps that we need to do. First, plot the point. Okay? So let's plot that point. Find -3, comma -2, and check your point with the neighbor. Check your point with your neighbor to make sure it's plotted in the correct location. Okay? Then we want to use the rise and run to find at least one more point. We're actually going to find a lot more points. We need to use the rise and the run. So what is the slope here?
2 over 3.
What is the slope here? Read again. Read the problem again. You're going to have to write this information down because I didn't put it on your notes. I didn't put it on your notes on purpose so you could see it. What is the slope? Don't overthink it. What is the slope? 3. But, so that should be rise over run, right? 3? That doesn't have 2 numbers. Should it be rise over run? How can we change 3 to become a rise over run? 3 over 1. I'll do that with a different color to make it more obvious. 3 over 1. So if there isn't a denominator for your slope, like if it's a whole number slope, what's the denominator going to be? 1. If there isn't a denominator, the denominator is 1. So now we need to rise over run. So what do I need to do from this point? I need to count what? Count up.
2 and
Hold on. Saeed, you said 2 earlier. I'm not sure where the 2 is coming from. Can you elaborate where you think the 2 is coming from?
-2, I could rise up 2 and then go to 3.
All right, so there's your point of confusion. This is a point. This is an ordered pair. This is an ordered pair. That's the point we start from. That's a starting point. So this has nothing to do with our slope. What's our slope? 3. This is our point. So we're graphing when given a point and the slope. So this is our starting point, and this is our slope. So we're done with the starting point. We're done with it. It's gone now, okay? We're done using it. Now we're using the slope. So when we rise, how far do we rise? 3. 1, 2, 3. When we run, how far do we run? 1. Now that should be pretty light on your paper. The slope triangle should be pretty light. Now, to be honest with you, that's not enough for me to make a nice line. I can't draw a nice line, so what can I do? What can I do? Make another point. How do I do it?
Up 3 over 1.
I go up 3 over 1. And I get another point. So it says use the rise and the run to find at least one more point. You should probably find several. Enough to be able to draw a nice straight line. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Now what if I run out of room? How do I get points over here? Well, let's watch this. Ready? Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. How do I go backwards? over 1, down 3, down 3, down 3. So how can I get a point to the left? Over 1 and down 3. And that's cool too. You can, if you have the slope, you can also work backwards as well. Questions on that? Now let's draw our line. The last step is to draw the line through the points. That line needs to extend all the way through. This is not a line. This is not a line. That's a line. Okay? Let's do our next one. Let's plot our point. What is our point? 4, 3. So graph your point and check it where you're graphed with your partner. I'll be honest with you, that's where most people mess up. They confuse the coordinate point with the slope. Guys, here's the problem. A lot of people plot 4, 3 right here. Because they confuse x and y with rise over run. So that's something to be aware of. Don't confuse the point, the ordered pair, which is x comma y, and x comma y. Don't confuse that with our slope. Well, what's our slope here? What's our rise? What's our rise? Up 2. What's our run? 5. So let's plot that, please. So our rise is 2, up 2, and we run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So why do you think I taught you how to go backwards with the slope as well? I ran out of room going to the right, so now I need to go to the left. So I went up 2 to the right 5, so now I need to go to the left 2 and down, or excuse me, left 5 and down 2. So how do I get my other point? Left 5 and down 2. And that's fine. You can work backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. If I wanted to get any more points, I could. But the idea behind this is that my slope should be 2 and 5 every time. Is my slope 2 and 5? Yep. 2, 5, 2, 5. So now my line. Whoops. Questions on this? Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for the slope, you know how they normally draw theirs like it's run over rise kind of? Couldn't that also kind of be right? Because when you go down backwards, run over rise.
Absolutely. So you were talking about, doesn't the book draw like this? Then yeah, absolutely, you could do that. I'm not saying that the triangle that they drew in the book was wrong. I just don't like it. I like the triangle to be on top. That's just my personal preference. My personal preference is the triangle to be on top instead of to be on bottom. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Other questions?